slow motion footage. After my last video just included 2 clips, I got so many comments from people. Made me realize not everyone has seen what happens to a recurve bow when it's being shot. Because it all happens so fast, unless you record the video at 4,000 frames per second, you really don't get to see what's going on. I'm lucky enough that in the past, when I was a professional archer, I had regular access to a high-speed camera. So I've gone through over 100 clips and I've picked out the best ones. Some of them are just interesting, some of them are more informative, but all of them give you a better understanding of how your recurve bow works and what happens when you shoot your bow. Now, I've got some compound clips too, and I'm going to make them into another video later on, okay? But today, let's get started with some recurve clips recorded at around 4,000 frames per second. And I almost forgot to mention, we finished the video with an Olympic gold medalist, so make sure you stay till the end. Throughout the video, I'm going to play each clip 2 times. This first clip, I had the camera just behind me and we're videoing the path of my arrow around the arrow rest. And if you look closely, you'll see that every single time when my arrow goes past, the shaft just clips the bottom of the arrow rest. Even though it's very light and just magnetically held so it just moves away, it's not something we really want. So once we had established that my arrow hit the arrow rest every single time, we made some adjustments. I can't remember exactly what they were. I think I made some pressure button adjustments and just slightly corrected the tune. These were all on a 53-pound recurve bow shooting 410 X10s, and generally at 30 meters it was bare shaft tuned. And as you can see from this clip I'm about to play, after we finish the tuning, the arrow no longer hits the arrow rest and I had much better clearance. This clip again is showing arrow clearance around the arrow rest, or in my case, again, this is a different bow with a different camera. That's why it's in black and white. But again, you can see it's really clear. You can see the arrow shaft coming in and hitting the rest every single time. This clip is more for fun than education. This is focusing on the weight on the end of my long rod, and particularly the little rubber dampener connecting the weights to the long rod. You can see as I first shoot, the bow and the rod slightly comes back. Then with the recoil, once the arrow is gone, the bow jumps slightly forward. It's interesting to watch, and you can see why having a rubber bush can just absorb some of the vibration. You can really see how much it moves. Now this shot with the camera in front of me shows a really well-tuned bow with excellent arrow clearance. This clip, more for fun, shows a limb saver connected to the bottom limb being shot on a 53-pound bow, and you can just see how the rubber limb saver gets knocked around, and you can see how it does absorb the vibration from the bow. Now I sometimes use these and I sometimes didn't. There's zero difference in the performance of the bow when it comes to the speed, but your bow does sound and feel nicer. So some people, including many top Koreans, continue to use them. But it's not a performance thing, it's a feeling thing. Now let's see how much it moves around. With this clip, the camera's looking straight at me, and I think the interesting points to check out is how much the string, when it's moving off my finger, how much the string moves into my body to make the fishtailing on the arrow, and then see how the arrow cuts through the air coming towards you. This is totally typical, totally normal, and a well-tuned bow. This next one is a very short clip just showing my release. I believe I took this video after I moved my anchor point from the side more towards the front, and you can see here there's no real face contact. It's not dragging my skin at all, and it's a relatively clean release. This next shot is of an international friend of mine, Crispin from Canada. At this point, it was the test event for the London Olympics back in 2011. And at this point, Crispin was a true world-class contender. I believe he'd got maybe a Pan Am medal and definitely a World Cup medal at this time. So again, this is a world-class archer with a world-class setup, fully tuned. And again, just observe his arrow flight and how much the string travels in off your finger. So this is another clip from the Olympic test event at Lord's. I have no idea who it is, no idea if they're male or female, but especially with the nice white handle, you can see that this person has absolutely fabulous arrow clearance. It wouldn't matter what position their nock or their fletchings were in, those fletchings are never going to hit their rest or their button. This clip is Jean-René Serrano, top Mexican world-class archer. The interesting point in here, I think, is watching the arrow fly to you, seeing how much this perfectly tuned, world-class archer, world-class bow, how much that arrow flexes. This is just something you do not see on compound bows, but if you want your recurve to be well tuned and to fly past the arrow rest, this is how they do it. Mr. Serrano again, and I think this is even better, close up, perfect look at how that arrow flies. It's beautiful. Again, with this one, I have no idea who it is, but they were definitely at Olympic world-class level. I love this one because, again, it shows how much arrow clearance you can get, a lot, and it's interesting to see how much the sight moves at the front. These bows, most of them are being shot between 45 and 55 pounds. There's a lot of vibration that goes through the bow. Doesn't cause a problem, things generally don't break, but it's interesting to see how much things move. With this one, I'm very sorry I don't know the young lady's name, but I know she was a world-class performer. And again, you see the same arrow flight and the same flex. Really good setup. And now we have a real treat. We have the 2008 Olympic gold medalist Viktor Ruban of the Ukraine. This shot is done from above at definitely a few thousand frames per second. It's a great one to see his form, and for some people I think he probably isn't quite as in line. Most people would expect him to be further round and his elbow's a little bit forward. But clearly it doesn't matter. He's a world-class performer, and at this point this was just a few years after the Olympics and he was defending champion at this time. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed those videos. Please, if you watched this far, please consider subscribing. I appreciate it. It costs you nothing. And if anyone is looking for some one-to-one coaching with myself, the link is in the description and I still have a few vacancies. All right, good training and good shooting.